Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Magic Beans podcast. This is episode number 170, and my name is Cracker, and I'm joined by my good mate and a single bean tonight in Chewy. How are you?
Good, mate. It's been a hot minute, so good to be back.
Yeah. I'm glad you're back, because there's no Shorty for like the next 3 episodes or so. And it's, look, I could do solo shows, but I'd rather not. So I'm glad you're here to have a chat with me about some sweet cards.
Based on requests earlier in the week, you just still listen. So,
well, if people tuned into the stream on Tuesday night,
yeah, it was cool.
I did open it. Yeah,
it's
very good. Funny because I had all the other Commander players sitting there in like Discord with me, but because they're in a different scene, they couldn't hear, like the stream couldn't hear them, and so I'm like, all right, everybody. You're going to hear me talking a bunch, and I'm going to read the start of Lord of the Rings. And they're all like, yeah, all right, cool. just all sitting there.
Well, my first response was, read it again, but slow.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's so no Shorty for a little while, as you said. He is got the caravan hooked up and 6 weeks in the outback. So
he's gone.
That's sick. I'm glad he's getting and doing that. If you haven't been to the outback, I would go tomorrow. I've been multiple times. I head back. I've got like long-term plans that I'm working towards. I've actually got a national park. I'm going to hike solo 60 Ks in the desert weeks away.
Nice. You know who else is in the outback?
Almost in the outback.
Almost.
Yeah. Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar. So Josh and Pat's are the official. They are they've got claim lots. They will win it now. They've got lots of different ways. Packaging and shipping are second to none. If you're looking to sell a collection, no matter what you want to do, anything related to paper magic, hit up jp.com, take you straight to their page, get bidding, and when you win, tell them that the bean sent you.
Very nice. Good job, mate.
I sold some cards to Pat. He looked after me.
Yeah, his prices were always excellent. Just super fair for buying or selling. So yeah, definitely go check him out. So we've got a few things to talk about this week. A little bit quiet on the... Well, I was going to say quiet on the news front. I mean, we've had like a whole Commander Master set spoiled. So we will get into that. But before we do, we thought we would talk about our league. So this is our Explorer League, which feels like it's been going for a long time, honestly. It feels like I've been out of it for a really long time too. Probably because I didn't perform very well, but hey, these things happen.
Yeah, it was a different structure, and I think it's worked well, but it's something we'll find. But yeah, interesting. That's it.
But and look, give us feedback, right? Please. We have our top 8, and we've actually got our first match is going to kick off probably in the next like 10 or 15 minutes as we record on a Thursday night. So we should we'll start seeing some results coming through, and we're going to have some matches recorded, and then some of our mod team doing some commentary over it, which is pretty great. So looking forward to actually seeing some gameplay coming out of this as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the pointy end, the cream as it does to the top, and we've got some pretty stacked top. We'll go through the names in the top 8. So we've got the Azzy G, who has just always up. We've got Insanity, big winner. Mark Walbang, who is one of the newer comers from, and we've got Penchair, who won things as well. Very Magic player, friend of the cast. Who else have we got there, mate?
We've got Aragoth. Again, these are not unfamiliar names to anybody, I don't think, at this point. Plunks, who, as he pointed out the other night, he was pretty happy. He's realised he'd snuck in 8th position. So, or 7th actually it ended up being, but really, really close with tiebreakers and
J-Mud had to go deep on the stats to actually divide them up. So shout out J-Mud, like massive effort to wouldn't be doing the league. So
correct.
Thank you, sir.
We've also got Wungasith and Darkanis, who are rounding out our top 8 here. So yeah, really stacked group, and yeah, the games are kicking off tonight, so they'll be played as we progress through. So we will keep people updated as the results roll through. But we thought what we'd do to start the cast tonight is actually have a look, see what people are playing, and kind of have a chat about Explorer, because there's been the new anthology, which has just come out, to the dismay of, I think, just about everybody. It was pretty underwhelming. We didn't talk about it last time. I don't think that it had been, and the cards had been previewed when Shorty and I were talking a couple of weeks ago. But maybe we should start there. Like, so Chewy, Did you have a look at the new anthology at all? Did you see the cards that were coming for Explorer?
No, because I wasn't playing of Explorer, mine didn't make it to the next stage of the league because
you were already out as well.
Well, the beans can't progress, right? So records don't matter, right?
Sure.
Beans can't progress. So we'll leave it at that. And I was away, and I'm just jamming Lord of the Rings. But I haven't look. Is it a banger? Is it good?
Oh yeah, no, it's not at all.
One of those, here's 15 unplayable cards.
Kind of. It's not quite 15 unplayables, but there's just a lot that are just misses. Like Cyclonic Rift. That's a great card in Commander. It's not a great card in 1v1. Because when are you getting to like 7 mana in Explorer to like flip your opponent's board?
There's not like there's no...
No.
Well, there could be, but they're top
There's
interesting.
No. So there are a few cards that are going to see play. So Sylvan Scrying will definitely see play when we get the rest of the pieces for the Lotusfield combo deck. There's Worldspine Worm, which paired with Xenagos, which is also in this release.
Oh, that's a good get. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the creativity decks have kind of moved away from this now, but it's still pretty good. And we may be talking about that again shortly with some of our deck lists. There's the Charms, the cycle of the, like Golgari, Simic. Izzet Charm, I think, is probably the only one that sees any play. But
Azurius Charm saw play in Standard, but...
Yeah, that's not one of them.
That's not one of them. Okay,
no.
Right. But Izzet Charm maybe in Phoenix? Maybe?
Yeah.
Worth testing, but whether it makes a cut, I'm not sure.
It's got some outside potential.
Yeah, you might play one or two.
Yeah.
Because it does the things you want, but...
It does.
It's what it is.
Just not... It's a charm. They're not the most efficient things because they do lots of different things.
Exactly.
There's one of your Commander favourites in Omnath, Locus of Rage.
Locus of Rage, okay.
Yeah, the red-green one. Yep. So, you can do the landfall thing, which no one does. There's the Accorda's Shield All-Star.
We have Shram, but we don't have anything else. So I think... I feel like we need Accorda's Shield in Explorer at some point.
Do we, though? Like, that deck is mostly about auras, isn't it? Rather than...
Well, it's probably moved to
equipment.
The Shram equipment, but I guess But what do they call it? Cheerios.
Yeah, but Cheerios was playing like storm cards as the win condition.
Yeah,
so you were like grape shotting people in Modern was the thing that we played.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, either way, like even if that was a deck, not just printing that into a standard set to get. Having it as something taking up an anthology slot seems a bit of a waste.
Yeah. If you've got to put one artifact in. I don't know that this is the one you choose.
Yeah, no, it's probably a couple more ahead of it, yes.
Yeah, and then the land cycle that the Cinderglade Canopy Vista, which they enter tapped unless you control 2 or more basics, which pretty much didn't even see play in Standard.
They seem, when you look at the other, and we'll see them in our... There's some decent lands in...
Yeah, there's some really good ones.
Yeah, I mean, people lands, but I would... In an aggressive deck, I would still do
for sure.
These, so
the only cute thing about these ones is they do have the basic land types, so they are fetchable, but we don't have fetches, so they're not fetchable.
It's kind of and you can get them off a channel.
Beseiju.
Yes, like right.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess that's like maybe it's worth putting a one of.
Well, you've
probably
got Triumphs, so...
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
and they cycle. So, and Thespian Stage, which is actually good. So there is like that as a good land, but the rest of it, kind of a miss here, unfortunately, I think.
Yeah,
so,
uninspiring.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it pushes hard enough into getting us to pioneer.
Well,
they did say it will take us
the
years,
format, right? Yeah, it will, and it's going to take many years if they keep serving this up. But
yeah, well, then they get to sell us lots of packs over a long time.
That's why mortgage. But it's you want things like this to either mix up the format or be a really positive. The goal that they've set themselves. They've come out and said this of those things.
Not really, not in any meaningful way. Anyway,
is what it is. Okay,
we do have Explorer matches to talk about. So we've got our top 8 set, which is pretty great.
Yeah, congrats to our top 8 competitors.
looking forward to seeing some of the recorded matches. Some of the mods are going to jump in and they're going to do some commentary over the top of it, which will be cool. So those will go up onto YouTube as they become available to us, which will be fun. But yeah, we've got quite the murderer's row here.
And worth pointing out, and
oh yeah,
there was one or two people that were very, very close and missed out on the narrowest. And thank you very much to Mr. J-Mud, who went deep on the stats to be able to separate not just a clear top 8, but also the order of the top 8, because the higher seed
and play draw matters a lot.
Yeah. So yeah. I'll talk about the first two. Well, let's go through. So we've got the Azzy G. Like everybody in this top 8, pretty familiar to all of us. Azzy G is number 1 seed, multiple competitor, lover of smoked meats. Happy to see the top tables. Taking on Insanity, like everybody else here is. Insanity has won an Explorer League back in our first league. So absolute gunplay. Always.
Yeah. First one he entered, he won.
Yeah, and no stranger to pretty accomplished. Then we've got Mark Wallbang, who's probably the newest comer to our top 8, but has been putting up some great results. Good player. But up against the Colossus, the Titan that is Penchair. And we've hung up Penchair once or twice.
It's good that he's a nice guy, because he's not when you play against him.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I don't know, like smiling assassin stuff.
Oh,
right?
Very friendly. Very, very pleased to just be murdering you.
Yeah, it's funny. There's like the twisting the knife. He's like to things sideways as he turns his place. Yeah,
exactly.
What's the other half of our top 8, mate?
So we've got Aragoth, who is facing off against Plunks, who one of those players that squeaked in on some breakers and things right at the end there. He was pretty happy about that.
Envy champion Plunks.
That's true.
Yes,
that's true.
Yeah, and Aragoth has been with Beans.
Yes.
Yeah. So and continue. And
then also we've got Wangasith and Darkanis. So yeah, names that just frequent the tops of our leagues all the time.
The cream rises, mate.
It does. Absolutely. So what we thought we'd do is we have the deck lists. They've all been submitted to us. They arrived in the last little while, and we've actually got some of the matches playing now. I think maybe even one of the first ones has been done. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through the matchups that we're seeing in round 1. We thought we'd have a quick chat and let people know kind of what they're on. The top 8, throughout the league, you're able to swap decks as much as you like, but the top 8 is now set. So they're open deck lists. We've shared them to all the players, and they're working out how to sideboard. But before they do that, let's have a look and see what's going on. So Azzy G has brought spirits, blue-white spirits.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got crushed by Azzy G playing this in the group stage, and I know it's very.
I think we've got pretty much everything now.
Yeah. So we've got a couple of battles in the Battle of Gobakhan. That's a good card. Then 24 creatures, suspects, Spell Queller, important card, and want to play white. In fact, cards in the deck. And Supreme Fantasy, 6 counter spells, snares, slip out the back as card draw engine. So, it's solid. It's a known quantity deck, and in the hands of a experience with it. And sideboard's interesting.
It's mono white.
Yeah, there's a lot of white pips, actually. Yeah. Destroy Evil. I remember everybody was packing. I was trying to play green-white enchantments in Standard, and everyone was packing multiple pieces of Destroy
I
Evil.
remember that. You hated it.
I was like,
just incidentally good against your whole deck.
I know, right? Yeah, it's just like, I really like this deck, and I just can't play it for the next. People calm the farm here. But yeah, so Destroy Evils, a second copy of Catilda as just like a big flying threat, a whole bunch of removal that kind of hits things angle. So 4 portable holes, a Settle the Wreckage. When it gets you, it gets you. Skyclave Apparition, so a spirit, and it's a yard, and 4 give that sort of long game.
I love the Miser Settle the Wreckage, man. The only downside I can see with this one, you can't do the pen trick. You can't pick up your pen when you're attacked for a whole bunch to mark down your life total before flipping the 4-drop and saying, get wrecked.
Well, what I do like, though, is it's open deck lists.
It is. That's exactly why I really love it. Because you've got that fear in your opponent. They're like, you're sitting there holding up 4 mana. And this deck does hold up mana quite well. There's a lot of flash threats.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can sit behind your counter spells and it's that thing of like, well, what are they going to do? Are they just sitting there waiting to activate the Spectral Sailor, which also costs 4 mana? Are they trying to draw a card, or do they have the settle?
Absolutely. And look, it's all on Arena. Insanity won't be able to see his best poke, whether he has it or not. So, yeah, I like it. So what's Insanity on?
Insanity's on mono white. Just straight up 32 creatures, 2 instants, 4 enchantments, and 14 planes. My favourite mana base.
Well, he's not going to get colours. Right?
Well, unless you draw all your copies of Mutavault.
Oh, yeah, that
to start.
Happen. And you just like can't cast Adeline.
You can't cast Adeline ever.
Yeah,
there's literally just 4 of us for all the creatures. Adelines, Cathars, Coppercoat Vanguards, Dauntless Bodyguards, Hopeful Initiates, Recruitment Officers, Thalia's Lieutenant, and then Thalia, Garden of Thraben.
12-1.
Mm-hmm. This deck knows what it's trying to do, man. And then the sideboard, again, really tight package. More Destroy Evils, more Portable Holes, more Wedding Announcements, and some Redains just because they really hate their things being targeted.
Yeah, it also I'm on a one. But it's
True.
Interesting. Like a good amount of removal, 6 removal spells, plus Cathar, so 12 removal. So can interact. It's not just about who are you picking? The spirits or
I think so. Because like Spell Queller hits literally every card in this deck, and that can be a real beating. I like the ability to, as he's on the play, is worth stating here, which is a big is really important for particularly this kind of aggressive matchup because they can both kind of beat down. But I think if Azzy can keep the Thalia's Lieutenant off the board, then his stuff just scales more effectively. And it's just got flying. So, like you're not going to get chumped out. You're always going to be able to push that damage through. That said, you talk about the curve and it's just like 1 into 2 into Adeline and good luck.
Yeah.
Like sometimes mono white will just get you. So
yeah, it's got the ability to go under anyone, but Azzy being on play is definitely nudges the Azzy. So I'm gonna go with Azzy as well, but it's like 55.
Splitting hairs.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 55% Azzy G. And Insanity's a great player as well. So, not that Azzy G isn't, his number 1 is amazing, but I think Insanity is capable of bringing one out of the bag. Could go either way, but we have to pick. I can't sit on the fence. So Azzy G.
All right.
Yep.
So next up, Penchair versus Mark Wallbang.
Okay. Penchair has spent the Explorer Anthology.
So many. He's dropped the gems, and he's got all of 2 cards.
Yep.
1 Xenagos and 1 World Spineworm.
So,
in fact, you probably don't even spend the gems. You just buy them as like wild cards, right?
Yeah, when you're only buying
That's a
one.
much better way of doing it.
Yeah, so
creativity.
Shorty's excited. So Shorty's listening to us, outside Lake Air. This happens, or the Flinders Rangers, perhaps. So this is not dissimilar to like Ridge from the PT. This is so Indomitable and Haste. In a kind of a cantrippy control shell, right? So
yeah, you're playing like all-star cards like Secrets of the Key.
Yeah.
Which is blue for an instant that makes a clue.
That invests. Yeah, and that you can flash back. Yeah. But there's so big
it plays Fable.
Yeah. It plays Fable, Shark Typhoon, big score. I like Volcanic Spite in this deck. It's kind of the glue because sometimes and it's also Mirex in that and not it's interesting.
And Soken does as well if you need it to.
Exactly. So interesting list. And we've got it in the hands of Play It Well. It's fun. Like this is the spiciest deck
for sure
that we've got, I think. And I really, really like it. And Penchair is up against Mark Wallbang. And
we sure do. So slightly different, but pretty similar.
Like Luminarch Aspirant is getting. We've got
Soul Petitions.
which one less plus over.
Yeah,
So,
I like that.
Yeah, I don't hate that. And a little bit more variety in the sideboard. We saw that Insanity, only 4 unique cards sideboard, but a little bit more diversity, covering Lauren of the Third Path as a...
Disenchant.
What's
Reclamation Sage.
Reclamation Sage, yeah. But also, draws cards.
Yep.
Then a bunch of Soul Partition. Redain for all the... and so Rest in Peace, which doesn't help against Penchairs. Is a no matter what.
I mean, if you're playing white, you should probably play Rest in Peace.
Absolutely.
Honestly,
yeah. And some,
I like the look of this one. Actually, I think it's missing the Gobakans from the other list we were looking at before.
Yeah,
Insanities, but I think it's still just got that curve, right?
Yeah, I think it comes down.
Doesn't it always?
It does.
It does against me.
Yeah. So Mark Wallbang is the hired C, 4th, Penchairs 5th. So on the play with Thalia in your deck, does that move?
I mean, it helps a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Penchair wants to open with Spikefield Hazard because you can play that on 2 and then Volcanic Sprite on 3. But it's not your A plan, that's for sure. So it'll be interesting. It'll be... Yeah, I think that Mono White might have the edge.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Penchair because he's...
Okay.
Yeah, that
yeah, that's fair.
It's close again. This isn't like a extremely... It probably favours Mono White, just Penchair things, but life's a resource, and Penchair can more cards.
Yeah, Penchair also came ready with 4 Rending Volleys in his sideboard. He's got a Brotherhood's End in the Maiden, 2 more in the board as well. So definitely very aware of the Mono White matchup, and has the tools to beat it, I think. So yeah, it'd be really, really interesting to see.
Yeah, looking for...
All right, so we've got Plunks versus Aragoth. And what did these boys bring for us?
So Plunks putting cats in ovens.
He is.
Yeah, so Blood Tithe Harvesters, Cauldron from single copy of Croxar, full complement of Mayhem. We've got we've got Furnace Rains, which is it's threatened. Gain control of target, gains haste, and whenever this critical player treasure token. So yeah, power creep. This is a great card. Deadly Disputes, Witch's Ovens, Deck and Explore, and a little out of the land. There's
quite a bit.
Yeah, Den of the Bugbear, Hive of the Eye, Sekenzen, and seems like the default if you're playing that. It's got Black Cliffs, crack up, your favourite.
It does.
Yeah. Sideboard is pretty diverse. There's a few one-offs, so covering a lot of... It's got Gigantha. It does have Annihilating Glare, a copy of Duress, and for that control matchup, putting pressure. Rending Volleys, the aggro, the 4th, a lot of the Highlanders.
Seems strong.
Seems
like
good.
This,
but I played a lot of Fires, and this deck is the opponent.
Yes.
Mid-range to the top, I felt she could definitely beat them, but I did a Fires deck. But Plunks is up against Aragoth.
Yeah, is Storm the Festival a hammer blow?
Right.
I think it is. Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, so Aragoth has brought mono green.
Stops, and
it
like
does.
As well. So, yeah, so mono green, new deck. Something shaking up the meta. We haven't seen ever before. Take us through it, Cracker, because I've never played ever one in our league.
Yeah. Do I actually need to go through this deck? It is the same. It's that I think the newest card they picked up was Tribute to the World Tree. Yeah,
it's a one-off, and that's cute. I like.
Yeah, it's a lot of devotion. I mean, that's what we're doing, right? Just devotion.
And then,
interesting that there's a shifting Ceratops in the main here. I don't see that very often.
That's a bit of a hedge. That one.
Yeah. Good against spirits.
Absolutely.
It's got reach and trample and can't be countered. Yeah. Pro blue, and then a Khan Wishboard. So we're talking about compact sideboards. This is not it.
No, I'm used to seeing this stuff.
There's 15 individual cards over here.
Looks like my modern, obviously cards, but unique artifacts. I like it a lot. Is. There's a few things there where I'm like, what? Real choice? But if you jamming it on Holy K or Troll.
Cavalier of Thorns.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, it gets the job done. It's also got a Shadow Spear, so
It does.
you know, that kind
Which is always one of the
almost does
first
same
things
thing.
you fetch, right?
Yeah, I actually
Yeah.
chuck that, go to town.
Mhm.
But it's got the boat. It's got the stone,
Mhm.
which with can't. It's not just
Yeah,
a one shot.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah, there's a lot of power. There's a pestilence as well. Calling out. I've never seen any do that, but
Because they don't ever need to.
no, exactly right.
You
But,
just you just vomit a million things. Yeah, I mean this deck is
it is.
the plague of the format for a while there,
is.
right? Like people
People
either
were
love it or
calling
hate it. I don't know that there's a lot of difference.
People were calling for Nykthos, so
Mhm.
yeah. So I think the mono green deck is probably favoured over Plunks, but he thought,
Mm,
and he's
we did.
running it. So
that's true.
So not discounting Plunks, but just on my experiences and things, I think it's just in the favour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agreed. So Plunks doesn't have quite enough disruption, and he doesn't have a fast enough clock.
Yeah.
It would be my estimation of this.
Yeah.
So I think Aragoth will just have time to assemble his mana and just go way over the top.
And even his road bumps in it are hard with
Mhm.
the Mayhem Devil, and
You need to trigger Revolt for your Fatal Pushes, which this deck actually has a really easy time of doing.
absolutely. But there's more fatal push targets in Aragoth 3.
That is very true.
So I think just like I has demonstrated
Very true.
victory from the Jewels of
Aragoth does have the play as well, though. So it is.
Who's up
All right.
next?
So our last pairing is Darkhanus versus Wonga Sith. And
Okay.
Darkhanus has brought some spice, man.
I really like.
Yeah, of course you do.
I'm
It's
about
just
this.
fires of invention.
Yeah, well, it's in enigmatic fires, but so even spicier. I was playing like fires. This is fun and powerful. Just read out. It would be better in your form.
Sure. So Agent of Treachery, Atraxa. We've got 4 Bone Crushers. That's the only multiples we've got. We then have a Cavalier of Dawn, an Elish Norn, Mother of Machines, Heliod, the Radiant Dawn, Kenrith, the Returned King, Omnath, Locus of Creation, and Tolsimir, Friend to Wolves. Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, all of the and Incarnation. There's Fables. There's Kenrith is a toolbox. Omnath is Omnath, and Atraxa.
Disgusting.
Agent of. So
Yes.
yeah. So it's a way to win. The mana base is.
There's a lot of triomes.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of rare wild cards in this deck.
Very pretty. But sequencing lands is although what I found is try really hard, generally okay. But sometimes the tap lands.
Very true. Very true. If you're trying to cast things fairly. The Leyline binding on like turn 2
It's
or
huge.
3 into Incarnation, sack it, give back their thing, get an Atraxa. I feel kind of dirty.
It's cool.
I mean, it's fun for one of the people.
Yeah. So this is a Karuga deck, so that's one of the cards I bought. And so with all of those things that we mentioned, Karuga, like I was drawing 3-4 cards saying it, and when you've got a fires out, paying the and yeah, there's some interesting cards in the Brazen Borrow. 2 copies of this deck. Who are they up against?
So they're playing Wonga Sith, who has brought Bant Angels. So doing the life gain kind of thing. Mostly the angel thing. It's not like the straight life gain deck, they're not playing Soul Wardens. But Youthful Valkyrie, Righteous Valkyries, Resplendent Angels, a Linvala, a bunch of Gyadas, an Errant in Gyada, and also some
card.
Bishop of Wings. So also got some Kyla's Reconstruction.
Yeah,
So
with
kind
Kyoko.
of-
So very similar. So 7 copies.
Yeah, pretty much. And then also playing 3 Lofties and 2 Settle the Wreckage in the main. It
Very
is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
Bunch of Bant lands, as you'd expect. No real utility. We don't have any of the
No, just
channel lands,
2
Ottawas or Ganjos. But, and then a couple of Dovin Vetoes in the board, another Linvala, a couple of Disputes, a couple of Redains, some Rest in Pieces, the other 2 Settle the Wreckages.
Doesn't want to get attacked. Does not want to get attacked.
Does not want to. And then 3 Skyclaves. It's just, I don't know. It seems, I want to talk about the settle for a minute because I just don't understand it. Because this deck gains a lot of life and then things get really big. So, like, what are you worried about getting run over by?
Old spine worm.
Yeah, okay. But you can actually, like, you can legitimately, like, you can get your life total high enough pretty quickly that actually won't one-shot you. I don't know. Just destroy?
I don't know. Or, like, it's the one-sided, but...
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the reason I pointed out is that they're bad hits from Coco as well, and that's the sort of thing you want to minimize too. So in terms of, like, misses, this deck has actually got quite a few. Like, you're playing 23 creatures, but you've also got 12 misses with your Coco, like Kayla's reconstructions. Yeah, which seems kind of light. So, like, I'm all on board. Look, hey, this is just me looking at deck lists going, oh, like, what do I know? But, like, 4 settles feels like a lot, and I don't know why you've got 2 in the main as opposed to having, like, 2 more creatures.
Yeah, I would...
Sure.
Yeah.
Great.
It's density. I mean, we'll see how it goes. The settle's probably going to come out against...
I would think so.
Yeah. And then it'll become veto.
It'll be vetoes, yeah.
Yeah. But interesting. Cool deck, nonetheless. But
yeah.
I think Dark Harness doesn't care about, but the Angel set are massive, so it can definitely go. So I think Dark Harness, but not... Or they might go, I've got a Kenrith and attack you, you're dead. So
yeah, cool story.
Yeah.
Look, we've talked about play draw a bunch. Wangasith is on the play.
Okay.
Which will make it, like, obviously big deal. Being able to just get on the board early and then, sit back behind a Lofty or a Coco or something like that is pretty great to be able to play at that instant speed. The Fires deck, obviously being Fires, doesn't play any instants. So you don't have to worry about, like, in game 1, there's no counter magic or any of that sort of stuff you need to worry about.
Binding's got flash and you can channel touch. That's about it. But once Fire, like it should have been originally printed.
Oh my goodness.
But yes, it's another close one. So like all of our ones, but yeah, I'm going to put this one slightly towards based on Angels. And granted, I had a different Fires list, but similar strategies. Interesting. Love to see it.
Yeah, I think that maybe the post-board games, Dark Harness picks up a bit because they've got like 2 verdicts.
Even temporary lockdown hits as well?
It doesn't. I was looking at that. It only hits a couple of things. It hits the Youthful Valkyrie, the Bishop, and Giada, but it doesn't hit the bigger things. So I don't know.
Lofty, but yeah,
that's true.
Okay, interesting.
Cool.
Okay,
so those are our players. Those are our deck lists, and yeah, very keen to see who does well out of this, and of course we'll keep people updated as they give us results and all that sort of fun stuff. But and once the videos go up on YouTube, we'll let people know so they can jump in and watch them. But apart from that, we've had a bunch of Commander things happening. So last weekend was Command Fest Melbourne. We had a couple of our community members go along to that, including one Polywaffle, who went and just jammed games. I was having a chat with Chris during the week about what he got up to and what he'd been playing and things. But he didn't actually pay to enter. He just rocked up and just played games with people. Had a great time.
Nice. Okay. Cool. So there was pay to join type stuff, or
yeah, exactly. So you paid I think it was $60 for the day, and then you got some ticks basically guaranteed for your prize or stuff. You got a couple of cards and entry and stuff like that. So yeah, and then there were pods that were set up with judges to do things all officially, but otherwise there were just tables where people could just sit around and jam games, and that's what a lot of people were doing. But the photos I saw, apparently it was really full. The hall where we've played a bunch of times was kind of packed out, which is pretty great. So I think people had a lot of fun. And I played some Commander. We talked about that earlier on. I streamed.
Yeah, you've had a...
Yeah. It was... We were talking about, before we fired up, I was like, all right, so, we had a quick chat during the week about what sort of power level people were going to bring and, all that kind of stuff. And was like, all right, well, look, I've got these 3 decks. I'm happy to play, a couple of them, and we'll see how we go. We got through one game.
Oh, wow.
we played one. I started streaming just after 8:30, and we finished just after 11. It was a grind. Lots of fun. Lots and lots of back and forth.
Yeah.
Lots of people who were the threat at various points. Matty P had this AEC deck. It was like a landfall deck, and he just popped off at one point.
Okay.
Just drew a bunch of cards and was putting extra lands into play, and every time he played a land, he drew a card and just kind of was doing that whole Simic thing.
Love it.
I was playing the Naya Monsters.
Oh, yeah? The sneak attack deck? Yep.
Yeah, I had sneak attack on turn 4, and look, I got up to some nonsense. I'm not going to lie. I thought I killed Matt because he was very scary.
Yeah.
Darkflame Ash was... I attacked there like turn 4 for 2 with my commander, and that was it. Like, she just had a vendetta from that point on. She just wanted to
You're in
hit me
sights.
with everything.
Yeah.
I was like, listen, can we like not keep doing this? But a ruinous ultimatum from her late in the game, when I thought I'd basically locked it up,
Ooh.
set me back to the Stone Ages.
Okay.
and then I'm sitting there with like just a bunch of very expensive creatures that I couldn't really cast effectively. So, yeah, a lot of fun. Plunks ended up getting there on Elf Ball.
Okay. Well done,
which was very cool. So yeah, a lot of fun. We'll definitely do some more of that. I'm going to stream probably every Tuesday while Shorty's away at least, and then probably quite often moving forward as well. Had a really good time. Next week, Chris and I are going to jump on the stream together, and we're going to brew some decks. We've got some ideas about what we want to do and just chat about how we want to go about that process. So I think it'll be fun to do a bit of community brewing. So
love it.
Next Tuesday night, if you're about, come hang out on the stream.
I'll
be a good time.
Online. Love it.
But apart from that, as I said earlier, we've got the whole of Commander's Masters, which has been previewed for us now.
Yeah, and obviously, so what are your bangers? What's jumping out at you and getting you excited? You talked about brewing.
Yeah.
Like what's for you?
Oh, $400 a box.
So buy singles?
Yeah, buy singles.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go to your LGS, hit up Pat, he'll have a bunch.
Yeah.
But yeah, please buy singles, because while there's some really good cards, there's also just a bunch of like rares that you don't want to see. There's a couple of things. There's some cards that have previously been expensive for the sake of it because of scarcity. So there's the Capture of Jingshao, I think it is, which is Time Warp. Yep. It's literally Time Warp, take an extra turn, but it basically only saw print in Portal 3 Kingdoms. There was a Judge promo at one point, but that card was really expensive for just scarcity's sake, like Imperial Recruiter was and some of those other ones. Yeah. There's just a lot of really solid reprints. So we're getting Demonic Tutor again, which used to be a $100 card, and now is significantly less than that, which I think is really good.
Yep.
Doubling Season, again, just any deck that plays green, and it's in every Super Friends deck ever. Just bringing the cost down. Grave Pact, which was, I just like that card.
It's crazy, like more that costs more. Like, so glad to see
it does.
Come down.
Yeah, because I mean, like, it's a fun card, sort of, but it's not super powerful, and it's not. Yeah, it's just expensive because it's old, I guess. Yeah. Same thing. Insurrection. Insurrection hadn't seen printing since Commander 2011.
Right.
That is 8 mana sorcery where you steal all creatures. They gain haste until end of turn. You get to steal everyone's creatures and attack them to death. Jeweled Lotus, obviously needed a reprint because that card goes into every commander deck.
Yep.
And then the free spells. So Deadly Relic, Deflecting Swat, and Fierce Guardianship. They have not seen printing since Commander 2020, and they got really expensive for a while. Right. Like Deflecting Swat and Fierce Guardianship in particular, like $70, $80 kind of range for some of those.
Yeah. No, happy with that. Even like Dryad of the Elite, so things like that.
I love the Confluence cycle.
Yeah. And the Battle Land.
They're such a good cycle.
Yeah.
Like they are, some of the best lands for sure.
There's only really like cards I'd like to talk about, but
go.
Love to call out Void. He's a Eldrazi, so 5 and 7/4. It says colorless spells you cast from your with mana value 7 or greater have Cascade, and like this this is insane. It 100% goes into colorless Eldrazi commander deck.
Yep.
But this is the first, like, it's worth trying. It doesn't counter spells, draws cards like Cascade, absolutely draws cards, and is 4 mana cheaper. Yeah, possibly
Yeah, this thing's sweet. I like that they made sure that the wording was correct, because it said cast from your hand, because otherwise you cast a 10-drop and you hit a 7-drop and you get to cascade off all those. Because when you cascade, you're casting them. You don't put them into play.
Exactly, yeah.
So you actually cast the spell, which is like pretty amazing. So yeah, this thing, man, it feels like it's got potential to go off. And that deck ramps so hard. Yeah. Like, it's insane for a colorless deck how big and out of control the mana gets on that thing.
Absolutely. You can
it's hilarious.
Then turn 4,
8 drops.
And like, wee! But yeah, I'm excited by that. I don't have that deck. Chrissy got that deck. I enjoy playing it.
It's fun.
Against it. It hasn't had much.
The other thing that is definitely worth looking at, if you haven't seen these cards, there's some phenomenal new arts. Just really, really cool. There's a whole cycle of profile drawn pictures for like headshots. So they're all like facing to the left as you look at the card, and it's all new art and they look really cool. Like blank, basically like solid color backgrounds, and then just outlines, and they look awesome. There's, all sorts of different ones, including there's a new, what did I see before? There's a new Zakama, which has just got like her 3 heads.
Nice.
Poking out, which is very cool. So if we were going to talk about Commander Legend or Commander Masters, mostly reprints, but there are a couple of new cards, including some new slivers.
Bulk slivers, and we're well over the hour.
We are.
So we'll, I guess we'll time, but there's some new ones. There's some very cool. Slivers are polarizing. You kind of love them or hate them. I think they're glad to see get. But yeah, it's there'll be other people that are not enthused at all.
Well, that's just Magic, though, right? Like,
it is.
But I think it's great. Like, slivers is kind of one of those classic and beloved or hated archetypes, depending on who you are. But it's also not the sort of card that just incidentally picks up other things. It's like humans, where you just get a bunch of humans in every set. Like, they don't just randomly print slivers. So
getting the injection.
This is the it freshens it up.
Like crystalline sliver. So, and they've gone with
very nice.
Yeah,
awesome. Okay, that probably does have to do it, because we are going long, like we do when you and I talk about Magic.
Yeah.
Shorty's
got a long drive ahead, so
he does.
We just want to make sure that. Sorry, Cat.
Yeah. Hopefully he's got headphones.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically, if you want to check us out, the best place to do that is magicbeanscast.com. It has our website with links to everything we do. We always say, come hang out in our Discord. It's the place where everything runs from. All our chats in there. People are active in there all the time. There's channels for literally every format you can think of. So come hang out. If you want to play games of Commander with us, there'll be more games, I think, firing now with people just hanging out in Discord and doing it, which is pretty cool. I'm pretty keen to see that happen more. As always, Josh and Pats, please go check those guys out. They are amazing and give us the prize support to be able to give out to our, Explorer top 8 players. So jpmtgbazaar.com.au, go check those guys out. Otherwise, if you want to follow us directly on Twitter, you can do that at the Magic Beans Cast. Same with Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, all those places. If you wanted to follow me on Twitter for some reason, you can do that at JoelHill_. And Chewy, you are?
At Chewy.
Thank you, everybody. And we will talk to you all next week.